Craig, one of the most difficult divisions in the National Football League to handicap for pretty much 2 decades has been the NFC East. Why? Well, we haven't had a repeat champion win a divisional title in the NFC East since 2004. So what does that tell us? As we get ready for the 2022 NFL season, maybe it's time to fade Dak Prescott and the Dallas Cowboys. Although they are booked as the betting favorites to win the NFC East with a plus 135 price, it was Dallas, Craig, that won the NFC East last year in 2021. Can they break that very long trend of trying to be a back-to-back champion? Not only does history tell us otherwise, but the market has actually worked against Dallas throughout this offseason, now into the training camp portion of the schedule, and certainly into the preseason as well. A couple of weeks ago, Craig, that number, plus 125, already 10 cents back, but it's maybe not fading Dallas based on the historic trends as much as it is finding another from this group of 3 to continue the long trend of not having a repeat champion in the NFC East. And a lot of that attention has turned to the city of brotherly love and Philadelphia. Philly right now, plus 170, Craig, the second best price to win the NFC East divisional crown. That gap between Dallas and Philly, now only 35 cents. The Eagles were 2-1 for most of this offseason, while Dallas was plus 125, a 75-cent difference that is now nearly half of that. Plus 170 for the Eagles, plus 135 for the Cowboys, and maybe some long shots if you're feeling ever so bold on the Commanders at 5-1 with new quarterback in Carson Wentz. Or maybe this is the time for Daniel Jones, entering year number 4 under new head coach Brian Daboll, to show what he has in the National Football League. But New York, the longest of the 4 odds in this division at 7-1. But Craig, the NFC East has been competitive on a yearly basis, maybe not because of the best quality of football, but as you can see from these odds, all 4 of these teams within $6 of each other in this divisional market. And it's not just who wins the division, Craig, but what does that mean for the postseason? Well, Dallas is still heavily favored to get into the playoffs, minus 260, the 5th best price in the entirety of the NFL. But Jalen Hurts entering year number 3, and the Philadelphia Eagles, Craig, still minus 178. So it would seem that the divisional champion should make their way, of course, into the NFC playoffs, and maybe even a wild card contender out of this group of 4 in the NFC East. The Commanders, relatively long by comparison at plus 152, and the Giants plus 225. But the price on the Birds, Craig, at minus 178 is the 6th best out of the teams in the NFC right now. So again, if you were to do the math there, just based on the NFC and NFL playoff picture, that would be a wild card berth at the very least for Philadelphia if Dallas can win the division. But 2 heavily favored teams, Craig, to make the playoffs. A thought right now, at least as the odds indicate, that 2 NFC East teams should be part of the 7 that make the NFC postseason. So how will they factor into that race once we get to the playoffs of winning a conference championship? Right now, Tom Brady and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers remain the favorites in the NFC, plus 340, despite moving back by 20 cents in this market from just about a month ago. The Packers and the Rams tied for the 2nd best price at 5-1. The Niners, Craig, the 4th best number at plus 750. And here are the 2 teams from the NFC East. The Cowboys at plus 850. The Eagles, $5.50 behind Dallas at 14-1 alongside another birded team, the Arizona Cardinals. Now, Craig, here's the conversation about the Dallas Cowboys. Even if they win the division, even if they earn a wild card berth, can you back Dallas at plus 850 to make a run through the postseason? Again, historic trends like we saw in the NFC East in deciding that divisional champion would tell you otherwise, to fade the Cowboys in the playoffs. Dallas has won 3, just 3 postseason games since 1995. They have a 3-16 playoff record in the last 25 plus years. That plus 850 number, even if Dallas gets to the postseason dance, is not one that necessarily is all that enticing. But Philadelphia at 14-1 might provide some value if you believe the Eagles can continue the trend that we have seen since 2004 of no back-to-back champions in the NFC East, and Philadelphia wins the division this year after Dallas won it last year. Those 2 teams, Craig, have the best odds, and we'll see if the wacky NFC East plays that role again in 2022.